Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It's me Matt here and I'm back with another dream story today. Today's dream story is a regular dream, but it was a funny and interesting one. Basically just a weird and unusual dream all around, so I thought I'd share it. I apologise if the camera shakes a little bit, just where it's standing it's a little bit wobbly. Anyway, onto the dream itself. I've got it here on my phone, so I'm going to read it to you guys. Dreamt I was talking to someone from NASA about space travel. So I was basically sitting there, I was having a conversation with this person about space travel and how they got to the moon in the first place. How they also got into space and all of that. And they were saying something about how some aspect of the original story was debated as being untrue. Now, this is part of the dream that is kind of unclear in my memory. I don't know exactly what it was, but basically there was a large part of the world that thought part of this was untrue, and this was just in the dream. I'm not talking about people in the real world saying the moon landings were fake and stuff like that. I'm talking about something specific in the dream. They were saying for whatever reason they couldn't have got out into space or whatever, but then the NASA guy was explaining why it was true and how the reason that it was true had something to do with them wanting to ensure that they used as much of the fuel that their ship had as possible. Doesn't really make any sense now that I read that back, but that was what happened in the dream. And they said that this was always for the best. Then they decided to take me up into space with them to prove it. And so I remember actually going up into space. I don't remember actually being in a rocket at any point, but I do remember floating up and then being in space. And once we actually reached space, it kind of reminded me a bit of Minecraft or something. And what I mean by that was everything was way smaller scale than it should be. I could see the moon, and I could see Earth, and I could see Mars and stuff. And it was all way closer than it should be, and it was also tiny in comparison to the size of the actual planets, and almost looked like someone had built them. And I put that here that they'd been building things as well. And this is the weird part, is they'd actually been building up the moon, which was actually where we were. And they extended the moon so that it almost reached Mars. Now obviously that would be an impossible thing to do in the real world, and you would end up with this massively long moon going all the way to Mars. But in my dream it was a bit different. It was Earth was here, the moon was here, and then Mars was here right next to it, literally walking distance away. And they basically just built more terrain on the moon so that they could reach Mars, so they could just hop off the moon onto Mars. So we started walking towards Mars. And we go in there, and it doesn't even really look like Mars. I just knew it was Mars somehow. It didn't even look red or anything from what I remember. But anyway, so we're walking towards it, and I noticed something. And I noticed this portal, this glowing portal in front of me. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? What's the portal doing here on the moon? And the NASA guy turns to me, and he goes, oh, this is a portal to Tesco. We've got a Tesco here on the moon. And do you want to come and see it? And I'm just like, okay, or whatever, we'll go check out the Tesco on the moon. So I went with a NASA engineer and we went through the portal, and sure enough we were inside Tesco now. And basically we were in this empty Tesco. All the shelves were stocked and everything, but there was no one working there. And I remember just intuitively knowing that none of this stuff would ever get restocked. So it was a limited supply. That was all the stuff that they would ever have on the moon. And so we had to be really careful about what we took. And I can't remember if he gave me it or if I just spawned it, it just appeared in my hand or whatever. But I had this empty can, an empty tin can. And I remember believing that I could only fill up this empty tin can with stuff. Anything more than that, anything that didn't fit in the can, I couldn't take. And that was slightly problematic because for whatever reason in this dream, what I wanted was in fact baked beans, and I wanted a tin of baked beans. And so I remember taking the tin off the shelf and I was putting it on the tin, and I'm like, this is not gonna work. In hindsight, I could have opened it up, put the beans in the other can, or just, taken the can of beans. I don't know why that was a problem, but in the dream it was. And so then I went on, and then I remember we were in this section with all these fancy wines and stuff, and I wondered about just opening one of the wines and pouring some fancy wine in the tin. And then we went around the corner, and I just remember a bottle of Jack Daniels caught my eye, basically all of the stuff there. It was the alcohol section of the shop, but the only thing that I actually recognized there was Jack Daniels. It was all these other weird I want to say foreign, but I wouldn't even say foreign. It was like alien brands of alcohol, and maybe that's what it was, you know, since we were like on the moon's Tesco, maybe that's what it was. And it was at that point that unfortunately I woke up, or the dream ended, or I just don't remember what happened next. I'm not entirely certain, but I believe that at that point I woke up. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird dream. I'm not sure what all of that was about. While I have, you know, lots of weird themes in dreams, I don't tend to have lots of otherworldly stuff, like, you know, being on another planet or traveling through space, or portals for that matter. So yeah, that was quite unusual and quite a fun dream. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you're trying to learn to lucid dream, then I highly recommend getting your hands on my lucid dreaming book, The Lucid Dream Book. There's a bunch of information about it on screen right now, and if you want to get your hands on it, you can go to gum.co/theluciddreambook. That's gum.co/theluciddreambook. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and enable notifications if you want to stay up to date with my videos, and if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care.